Hey guys, Nate here, and today I'm going to show you how to get the heavy exotic solar sniper rifle Whisper of the Worm. For starters, if you have a main character already, this mission will show up for you on IO. However, because I started a second character and I have already got this exotic on my main character, the mission does not show up like it's supposed to. Now, the way we're going to do this is the way it was set up before. The way it was set up before is you need to be an IO in Lost Oasis. What you're going to look for is a public event on Lost Oasis. It doesn't matter the public event. Doesn't matter if it's a Taken public event, a Cabal public event. All you need is a public event here on Lost Oasis. That's how you're going to get started on this mission. And if you already have the mission showing up for you, don't mind this. But if you need to know how to get it, this is how it was done before. You needed a public event on Lost Oasis. Now, we'll get to that in a second. Before we jump into it, I'm going to give you my loadout. I'm playing as a Titan. My subclass is Bottom Tree Sentinel. It's Code of the Aggressor, because you want to move very fast and you want to be able to take out as many ads as possible in one go. And I'm running, it's the double shield. Now, my primary is Talons of the Eagle, Kinetic Scout Rifle. My special is Elatha FR4 Solar Fusion Rifle. My heavy is Sleeper Simulant. Now, back to the exotic quest. And one last thing, I'm expecting to mobility, resilience, and I'm running lion rampant for the jumps. Now, back into this. Once your public event starts, you're going to go to three places, one of three places. These three places, you're looking for a Taken boss. This Taken boss is your key into the Taken Blight or the Taken Anomaly. Now, the first place you want to look under is under this gigantic tree. For me, this is where my boss was at. There are two other places I will show you once I take out the boss. So you go ahead and you take out the boss. If you need to use your super, go ahead. Doesn't matter, because again, depending on your spec, you'll get your super more likely around 2 or 3 more times while you are running the actual exotic quests. Now, I was hesitant. I wasn't sure if I should use my super, but you need to not rush, but keep this in mind. You can only access the Taken Anomaly while the public event is active. So if you have 50 seconds and you run out of time, you'll need to wait again for another public event on Lost Oasis. So this is the first place that you might find your boss, and luckily mine was here in this first place. Now, you need to exit the cave and go upwards to make your way to a cave on top of a hill, which you're going to see me do right here. And so if your boss is not in this first cave that I was at, make your way this way to where I'm going, up this hill right here. There's going to be a little cave. Now, sometimes there's a boss in there, a red bar. That's not the one you're looking for. You're looking for a big, huge guy, yellow bar, Taken boss. Now, as you can see, there's nothing in here because I did take my boss out in the first cave. Now, there's going to be one third location. If your bosses were not in the first location or the second location, you're going to go to this last location, and they're right close to each other. It's like a triangle almost. So you make sure you gotta find your boss, and when you do, you take him out, and this is a location for the third boss. If he's not in the first two locations, once you take out your boss, you're going to get this, a Taken Anomaly. You're gonna go up to it, and you're going to activate it, and that's going to kick off your mission. The best and easiest advice I can give you to complete this mission or this quest is practice makes perfect. You have 20 minutes, and if you do not finish it the first time, it's okay. As long as you learn from what did not work your first run, and what did work on your first run. Now that is what is going to allow you to finish this mission in its entirety. You're going to fail multiple times, and you're going to get a lot of things right. The way you're going to finish this mission is you're going to use what didn't work on your first run, your second run, your third run, your fourth, or your fifth run, learn from that, and you're going to take what worked on what did work and to build on. You're going to continue to build on that. The best and easiest thing to remember, to keep in mind, there is a trail of red lights, or you're going to see red that's lit up. That is what you are going to follow. Don't veer off and think, well, maybe it's this way, maybe it's that way. Always follow the lit up path. Now, this first jump, I was able to do it because I had my Titan exotic lion rampant again. And again, if you aren't able to do this on your first go, it's okay, because honestly, this is probably the 10th time I do this, maybe more, not counting my first character. And again, if you want to pace yourself, do it. If you want to use the first 20 minutes just to get the jumping puzzle down, go for it. Because remember, practice makes perfect. You may not get this on your first try, and that's okay. As long as you continue to work on it, you will eventually get it. Now, your path is always lit up. Follow the red, you get ahead. Put that in your head, or keep that in mind, or use that. Follow the red, get ahead. In this part, the blocks you have to be careful with, because they will knock you down. And once you've made it over, you're jumping over here, and you're going to make your way up to an elevator. Keep this in mind as you are making your way up the elevator. Something does come out from the left side, and if it makes contact with you, it will knock you off the elevator. And it's something that you may not see the first time because it comes in and out of the wall. As I mentioned before, practice makes perfect. The more you run this, the better of an understanding you will have of all the layout of the, what comes out here, where to jump and things like that. Now, once you do that, right here, I used to rush in this square part, and I always got knocked down. What I learned is just to take it easy going through this part. That's what I can tell you for that. It's a very annoying part. For some reason, it's supposed to be easy, but for me it was actually very tricky. Now, this jumping section, what you need to watch out for is the walls that shoot out. If, again, they make contact with you, they will launch you, and they will kill you. And there are two enemies here that will try to get you, that can be annoying. But again, follow the red, get ahead, and don't rush. Don't think that you have to move absolutely fast. You do, but the more you run this, the better at it you will get. This part's tricky because a door opens and it closes. If you miss it, either you will fall down or the door will knock you down. Though it's something to, once you're familiar with it, you'll get better at it. Now you're going to follow this path. Again, what's the saying? Follow the red, get ahead, follow this path, jump down to the right, and it's going to take you, it's one last jumping section before you get to the ads. For this, it's very tricky and you can miss it. You're going to turn in right here where we're going, and your ghost light has to light up. That's how you know you are in the right place. This is a shortcut. Now follow this part, follow the stairs, go around to the left. On this part, on the ring, lean into the wall. You are going to hug the wall. So move your thumbstick, your joystick, into the wall so that you don't fall. And again, this jumping section is very tricky. You're going to jump from here, and there's an opening. If you overshoot it, you are going to fall. But luckily, it will take you up to the top. You won't have to run everything again. Once you've made your jump, follow the path, hug the left, jump to the right. When you see the red, you're going on the right path. Now from here, you are going to make a sharp right turn into here. This room, this is where your time counts. If you make it to this room with 5 minutes, you will not finish the quest. You need to make it to this room with a minimum of 10 minutes so that you can finish your quest. Again, you may not get this on your first run. If you do not, it's completely okay because practice makes perfect and it's consistency. Maybe it takes you 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs, and you get it on your 5th run. Maybe you do get it on your first run. Maybe it's your 2nd run. Now, once you get into this room, because this is where time begins to matter, the first thing I did was clear out ads. Keep this in mind, you do not need to take out the taken blights. You do need to take out the ads so that you can move forward. If you take out the blights, it will take up unnecessary time, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to waste any precious time. All you're doing is taking out all the ads. Forget about the blights, only ads. This is why I picked the fusion rifle, because it packs a mean punch up close. Same with sleeper. I can pick them off from a distance and I'm safe. And one more thing, I am once again spec'd into high mobility and resilience, so that to help my jumps and to recover health faster and things like that. And this is why I'm using the setup here that I am, because it's for the ads. Once you get to the ads, it's going to be very useful. Now for the setup, that's what I used, but you can use what you feel more comfortable using with. Now once you've taken out all the ads, in the back of the room, Taken Blight will spawn once all the ads have been taken care of. Shoot the Blight, this takes you into the next room. A lot of these taken enemies have solar shields, which is why solar is very helpful here. They also have void shields. When you get into the next room, there's going to be it's going to be solar shields as well as void shields. Now, in this second room, these taken are very aggressive. Once you take them out, same thing's going to happen. A blight's going to show up where your path is, shoot it to get into the next room. We are now in the third room, and again, this is where sleeper comes in very handy, as well as my solar fusion rifle. On the right side, you're going to have wizards, and you're going to have taken. There's going to be void shields. There's going to be solar shields. Left, there's going to be 2 knights with solar shields, and then up top, you're going to have yellow barred enemies. Again, for this part, you do need to take out all the ads to move forward. You do not need to take out any taken blights in this room to move forward. Only ads, all the ads that you see, take them out, and this is going to allow you to move forward. This is where your time begins to come into play. The more time you have here, the better, because you are going to be dying a lot once you encounter the ads. The less time you have, to get to the final room. And the final room, in a sense, consists of 2 boss fights. So this is where you want to manage your time. This is where you want to have a good amount of time so that you have the time to take out the ads to continue moving. Because it does get overwhelming, and these ads are very aggressive, and you are going to go down maybe once or twice or maybe 3 times, maybe more than that. So keep that in mind. This is where your time comes into play in this room. If you are under 5 minutes in this room, there's a chance you might not finish the actual quest itself. That's something to keep in mind when you are running this entire quest. This room, if you are, at 2 minutes, you might not finish your quest, because again, the final room does consist of 2 sort of boss fights, and the last main boss fights, the 3 taken bosses with massive amounts of health. And so this is a place where you want to manage your time and look to see, okay, how much time do I have? Your first few times, don't worry about the time. once you get better at it, it's something to keep in mind. Same thing's going to happen here. You take out your ads, taken blight's going to appear, you shoot it. You don't need to kill everything here, but it's best that you do, because if you just jump straight down, they're going to light you up, and you're going to get 2 taken cabal here that show up, so be careful for that. Now once you've taken the enemies out here, a taken blight spawns over the pit. You're going to shoot that taken blight, and that is going to take you into the final room for this encounter. Something to note, as you are jumping into the pit, the fall can kill you, so don't just jump in without having a second jump, because if you jump right in, it's going to kill you and you're going to waste time. Now for this room, the 2 blights that you see when you enter on your left and your right side, those are the blights you are going to take out, because if you don't, when the final bosses spawn in, right now you have mini bosses. When the final bosses spawn in, and if you have these 2 taken blights up, it's going to make the fight very difficult, because the final 3 bosses are going to hide in the blights. So if you're shooting at them, half of them is going to be in the blight, half of them is going to be out. So you might not be doing the damage that you want to, or you might not even be getting them at all. The downside to shooting the blights though, because in a sense they are your shield as well, you've now left yourself exposed, and you can stay in the back, which is where I stay most of the time. However, if you go further into the pit, on the left side there's a cave, on the right side there's a cave. Now that's the downside to taking out those blights. You don't have to do it that way, but remember, if you don't take those blights out on the left side or on the right side, you are going to give the final bosses cover. They are going to use that as shields, and it's going to be very time consuming, because their health's going to be going down very, very slowly. Once you take out the mini bosses, you're on to the final stage of the quest, of this mission, and you will get 3 massive taken bosses that will spawn in. You need to take out all 3 taken bosses within the given amount of time to complete this quest. You cannot only take out 1 or 2, you need to take out all 3 of the taken bosses. And you're going to see that below. I used a special going in, and I cleared out the mini bosses. You want to clear out the mini bosses as quickly as you can, because this saves time and this gives you a leg up. And again, the 3 taken bosses that do spawn in have massive amounts of health, and you want to have plenty of time to be able to take them out. And again, in this last room, it's going to be best to have more time here, because you are going to be dying a lot, and the more time you have, it's beneficial to you. There's no way to say, oh, I'm not going to die. This room, it's the same thing as the previous rooms. Very aggressive. The Taken play very aggressive, and they're out to get you. And again, you can sit back and once you drop into the pit and pick them off. But if you're taking your time, that's only hurting you, because you need to take out the mini bosses as well as the 3 primary bosses that spawn in. And you are going to die a lot. And this is where having, a second person or a third person comes in handy. And the best way to do this is either run it with 2 people who have already done it, or who have a better understanding of things. If all 3 of you are brand new, that's okay, because you're going to learn, and this is what is going to help you when you run it a second time or a third time, or you help your friend or anything like that. So keep that in mind. You are going to take out the 2 blights in this room. This is the only room you're taking out any sort of blights. You're taking out the left blight and the right blight. You're taking out the mini bosses as quickly as possible, and you're taking out, once the mini bosses are down, the 3 primary bosses are going to spawn, and you need to take them down as quickly as possible as well. The further in you go into the pit, there are more blights in there, the more that the bosses are going to hide in those other blights. So if you stay at the entrance to the pit, in a sense they're going to you to get to you. Bad thing is if you take out the blights, you've taken out your cover as well. However, the more time you spend in the pit, the further in you go, the harder it becomes because there's other blights you have not taken out, and now you're giving the bosses cover. And again, remember, be patient, trial and error, practice makes perfect, and you know, your loadout, change it to what works best for you. And this is where your time management, this is where it's necessary, this is where you need it. Because in the final room, you need all the time, because it is one tough fight. And if you're running it with, one veteran that's done it before and two people that haven't done it before, the two people that haven't done it before are going to need the most help. And you can get it done. As you can see, I was picking off the boss here with my kinetic scout rifle, and I had the other guy on the inside. This is where your spec into comes into play. This is where your specials come into play. If you're spec into high resilience, so you get your super faster, this is where it all comes into play. This is why you need it, so that you can get your super, 2 or 3 times, and so that you can finish it with the amount of time you have. I went in for one last run here with my super, and because it was a last taken boss, and he was a little bit halfway, a little bit less, this is what allowed us to finish. I want to give a very special shout out to Tatsuya of Nothing Remains for helping me out with this quest. I'm Nate. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next exotic guide.